Today I fucked up by going on the wrong date. So I match with this cute girl from Tinder. The conversation is flowing and I suggest we go out for drinks this past Friday. She agrees and we set the time and place. When I arrive at the bar 10 minutes early, I try to see if she already arrived and I see her standing by the bar. She made eye contact with me and I greeted her. We started talking for quite some time and I was getting weird vibes from her, so I suggested we go grab something to eat. We get out and as I see her more clearly under the street light, I exclaim, "You don't look anything like your Tinder profile pictures." That's when it hits me. This is not the girl I had a date with and just straight up hit on some random girl. Try to ask, "You are not Melanie, name altered," and she seems pissed of that I don't remember her name, but I'm more confused than ever. I look at my phone and see 5 angry text messages and 3 missed calls. My new date didn't find it amusing and lost interest, and my original date wants nothing to do with me. Spend the rest of the night eating takeout pizza and watching Netflix. Too long, didn't read, accidentally hit on a girl in a bar that looked like my Tinder date. Fucked up both dates. Haha, classic. Right side, you don't really need Tinder after all. That girl was probably there meeting her Tinder date as well. I can only imagine being like, "Alright, I got a date tonight. Don't fuck this up." Tries not to fuck it up, but fucks it up anyways via honest mistake that no one forgives. Edit, thanks for all the upvotes. In an alternate universe, you had threesome. I had something like that happen with a job interview. I was told by the recruiter to meet the guys in a pub up the road from the company. I pitched up and asked the bartender if he knew about these guys from this comp. "Yes," he said, "but they're doing an interview right now. You can just sit here and wait till they're done." I order a beer since I can see them slamming back a few. And the time passes and passes. And eventually we're going into nighttime and they're just sitting there drinking with this other guy. Eventually I gather some courage and go ask them if it's going to be my turn soon. "Who the hell are you?" "I'm X." "No, this is X." Point at dude they've been interviewing. Somehow 2 different recruiters at the recruiting company got the message that X had been asked to come for the interview. So they each sent an X. These guys had finished up their interview hours ago and had decided to just keep drinking and shooting the breeze with other X. They then decided screw it and went ahead and interviewed me whilst they were suitably toasted. I got the job. I try not to think it was because they were drunk. They've never told me if I was the guy they were expecting or not. Edit for confusion, company A hires company B, a recruiting company, to find it candidates for a job. A goes over resumes sent to it by B, and I was not privy to this because I wasn't there. Does a phone call or email or something to be saying something like this: "X dude looks cool, send him for interview at pub at this time." 2 different people in company B get CC'd or hear this or get told this and they each send a candidate named X to the same interview being conducted by company A. Now you know how to not need Tinder. Just try and talk to a girl with the confidence you had when talking to the girl that looked like your date, and with a little luck, you'll have spontaneous dates. Just don't be bummed out if 7/10 aren't into you when you try to hit on them. It'll most likely still be a way better rate than you get while trying to get matches on Tinder. Today I fucked up by accidentally having sex with my cousin at a family wedding. So I originally posted this to r/confession a couple nights ago, and thought he might also appreciate the story. Obligatory, this fuck up did not happen today, but nearer to 2 years ago. As a disclaimer, this is my first Reddit post and on mobile, so apologize for formatting yada yada yada. So this happened about 18 months ago, or somewhere in the vicinity of 18 to 20 months. I still get flack from this from both family and friends. So, the setting: my uncle's wedding. It's around autumn and my uncle by my mother's side, from an exceptionally large family, this is relevant, is getting married for the second time. Now my family is very large. My mother has 3 brothers and 5 sisters, all with children of their own, and some even with children of their own now. The wedding isn't what I would describe as large, pretty much encompassing just family and close friends. All in all, there can't have been more than 50 or 60 people there, and around 60%, at a rough estimate, or so are related by blood to me. They make up the majority is what I'm trying to say, and many are spread over whom I have only briefly met, or in some cases, never met. Well, you can see where this is going. For reference, I would be around mid-17 in this story, with the age of consent in my country, UK, being 16. The girl, who we shall call Isla, was 22 or 23. Well, at the reception, I am having a good time with my sister, parents and cousins, dancing, heavily indulging in drinking etc. Just generally enjoying myself, as it is rare for large family gatherings for us for obvious reasons. A girl I don't recognize begins to dance with me on the, very crowded, dance floor. She's older than me clearly, but I thought maybe 19 or 20. Anyway, we start dancing, touching etc. She twerks on me a little, I grind a bit, and I presume nobody noticed due to accumulated intoxication and crowdedness around where we were. One thing leads to another, we start kissing and she asks me if I want to go upstairs, which I correctly take to mean her room in the hotel. It was a hotel wedding. I, of course, being a hormonal teenage boy, still am, jump at the opportunity and say yes. I should say this wasn't my first time or anything, and by this point I carried condoms around in my wallet when I went out and knew I would be drinking. So we proceed to discreetly, or so I think, take our leave. Both drunk, obviously, but not to the point of not being in control of our actions, or stumbling around / blackout etc. I get to her room, a bit of excited talk, and clothes come off. All is going well. Now, I should say that all this time I'm assuming this girl is a relative, or perhaps friend, of the bride. Oh boy. I was in for a shock, because, as it turns out, she thought the same of me. As we were cleaning up, so to speak, we begin a little small talk when before had mostly just been purely sexual. She eventually asks how I know the bride, let us call her Emma. I stop, thunderstruck. The realization slowly creeping up on me, and oh, the horror. I laugh it off, hoping, in vain, she is joking, and state I am the son of, insert mother's name. The shock is palpable on who I then realized as my cousin's face as she was putting her bra back on. She sort of freaks out and says she's the estranged daughter of one of my uncles who's had a troubled life, whom she had very recently reconnected with. I did not know this. Essentially collectively let out a fuck. From there we got dressed quickly and decided to never reveal this major cock up to a soul, and hope to God we had not been noticed. Alas, we decided it would be best if she were to leave first, and that I would follow around 5 to 10 minutes later. Well, I do. She leaves first, and I just kind of stand around in the hallway on my phone freaking out for a short while until I decide enough time has passed to erode suspicion. Well, first thing I see when I get down is the look of pure disappointment on my mother's face, the stupid fucking grin on my father's and half my cousins' faces, and my sister looking in disgust, as though she was watching a particularly repulsive sea slug. One of my cousins whom I am close to pats me on the back, shaking his head and laughing his absolute head off. No, I am defeated then, and quietly take a seat expecting the utter bollocking I will later receive from my family. My elderly 90-year-old grandmother was there for fuck's sake, and word was not quiet. I didn't see Isla or her father again that reception, and later found out she told him and he took her home, not to the hotel she had booked, by way of taxi. So yeah, I accidentally took part in, protected, thank God, incest. It is brought up at every, and I mean every, family gathering. A couple of my cousins have taken to playing Sweet Home Alabama and asking when the next date is whenever I enter the room. After, soberly, explaining to my parents it was an accident and I fully believed she was not a relative, like they should have questioned it, they were okay-ish with it, but still disappointed and annoyed a little. My father asked me how I'd failed to notice Isla, apparently, sat literally the row behind us, and I had no answer. Got to work on my observation skills, I guess. Not only do my family still tease me, but my friends found out from my sister within days, and I've been relentlessly teased by them at most social gatherings since. You can imagine how many cousin/incest/Alabama jokes daily. I am ashamed to this day. Even more so because she is an objectively attractive woman. One might imagine, the limited interactions we've had since have been extremely strained and awkward, not helped by my dickhead cousins. There is another big family wedding coming up this summer, and since the announcement the incident as it's come to be known as has been all that's been discussed within my hearing. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that roller coaster. If you have any questions feel free, and once again, do forgive the surely egregious formatting as I am just popping my Reddit virginity with this story, which I've been encouraged to, anonymously, post online by friends so as to make you all laugh as much as them. Too long didn't read. I had sex with my uncle's estranged daughter at a family wedding my first time meeting her. Everybody in the large family knew then, and now, and will never let me live this down. Edit. Thank you all very much for the outpouring of engagement with this post. I will try get through the comments over the duration of the day. Also thank you for my first silver and gold kind stranger. Glad I could give you a chuckle. We decided to never reveal this major cock up to a soul. She immediately tells her dad. What the fuck, Isla? Ah fuck, I can't believe you've done this. In my experience, family gatherings / family reunions are a great place to meet people. Meet them. Is inside Uncle Bill's long lost daughter? I'll pass on that, thanks. Now fuck your uncle. Got to show that dominance. Consider dominance asserted. Only way you will get the teasing to stop is to assert dominance. Next time relatives start teasing, say that you'll fuck them next. Also you can say you wish to keep the bloodline pure. Fucking filthy mudbloods SMH. Points finger gun, keep it up, and you're next. Gram. Didn't you see her sitting behind you during the wedding? Yeah. Most people don't have eyes in the back of their heads. Oh well, it happened, it won't happen again, and nothing really terrible came of it. If anything, she should have seen him sitting in the row in front of her. Today I fucked up by helping my wife breastfeed our newborn. I was tidying up our back porch and noticed I hadn't yet put anything in one of our planters. I remembered some assorted dried pepper seeds I had in the kitchen cupboard. The thing is, I couldn't remember what pepper was what now that they were all dried up, so I grabbed a yellow one and a red one. I tore them open, planted them, and went inside, no problem. Now our newborn is feeding every hour, so my wife has to use a nipple shield. It's a piece of silicone with holes in it that extends the nipple and protects the nipple from getting too raw. I heard the baby's timely cry, so like clockwork, I grabbed the nipple shield, washed it, and placed it on my wife's nipple for her so she could feed the baby without having to get up. I'm the worst dad ever. Little did I know, but some of the pepper oil that got on my hands, I didn't know dried peppers could still have oil in them, got on the nipple shield. Our baby started to wail and nothing could make him stop. We couldn't figure out what was wrong until my mouth began to burn. I guess I had also gotten my fingers near my mouth, so I full on stuck my fingers in my mouth to determine what kind of pepper. Judging by the heat in my own mouth and knowledge of the peppers I had dried, I had planted a Carolina Reaper. My tender little boy cried bloody murder for at least 2.5 hours straight, and we did everything we could think of / find on the internet to stop the burning. Luckily, from what we can tell, not very much got on the nipple shield and the pepper wasn't to its full potency, or things could have been much worse. Now I feel like I should never touch my child again. This whole fatherhood thing is not off to a great start. Too long didn't read. Touched some dried Carolina Reaper seeds. Then touched my wife's nipple shield that goes in baby's mouth. Baby cried horribly for 2.5 hours straight. I'm the worst dad ever. Edit. I did wash my hands after, but I used hand soap instead of dish soap. Even with dish soap, it didn't come off. The pepper oil finally came off after I poured 91% rubbing alcohol on my hands. Edit 2, he wouldn't latch to drink milk because he was crying so hard, so I eventually got a bottle of pumped milk and put some of it around and in his mouth. Edit 3, baby is okay. He's still feeding normally and acts as if nothing happened. But we all know the truth. We know. Working up the baby's tolerance to spice. Shit happens. Now you know. Won't do that again. My 10-year-old loves to hear stories about what a terrible mother I was when he was a baby. If your family is anything like mine, this will become the classic. Hang in there, you're doing fine. Heart. One time I rubbed ghost pepper on my eye and turned out fine. It just hurt like hell for a while. After the burning, your baby should be alright. I cut habaneros for dinner and then put contacts in the next morning, figuring that 11ish hours and a shower was enough. Prying my eye open enough to remove the contacts was not easy. I was late to work that morning. Dang. Don't worry, it's just bad luck. It's not like you purposefully fed the baby a pepper. If he quit crying and he isn't exhibiting any symptoms, he is probably okay. I'd check with the family doctor soon just in case. Just make sure you are extra cautious in the future and I'm sure everything will be fine. Smile. I'm sure you're doing great at being a dad. That's the thing they tell you about being a dad, but you don't really understand it until you experience it. There are things, like pain, that you wish you could take over for your kid, but you just can't. And you just feel so helpless because you've done everything you can do. If it's any consolation, this probably won't be in his long-term memory, so he can't hold it over your head 10 years from now. Apart from that, at the very least, you tried to mitigate it. Everybody makes mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them so you don't douse your kid with a mouthful of fire ever again. Until their teenage years, maybe. Or to get him to give up his pacifier.